Well now, William, you can imagine the figure of Long Tam coming across the bog with his long bare legs and the short tail wagging in the one. He certainly must have looked a queer figure, for old Sally the pedlar used to say that Tam was that son of the legs that he could tramp meal in the barrel of a gun if it wasn't for the big feet. Now, I mind the thing well, William. It was the year I was telling you that I was hired as the herd boy with Tammy Frank McCurdy, and I must have been a brave lump of a cub at the time. I mind the Sunday night that Tam fell in the hole. It was the night that after old Sally the fly was awakened. The poor old soul was got dead in her bed on a Sunday morning. But there was no inquest, for the old doctor said that it was her age that killed her. So we were left in peace to enjoy the wake. Spoil the Stick McGrath made the coffin up in Mr. Mullen's barn, and the wake house was crowded from the fire gable to the jamb of the door. Everyone would come in and say, "I'm sorry for your trouble, Mickey." But then, when all was said and done, they were more interested in the wee drop of drink that was going and the pipes of tobacco. Wee Mickey McKendrick was hired in the spa houseman's the same year as a hard boy like myself. And of course there would be plenty of fun at old Sally's wake, so Mickey and me was there in good time for fear we would miss anything. The pipes of tobacco were going round for about the second time when Spoil the Stick come in, and him better than half full. It would be well after 12 o'clock at this time, and says he, "Yon coffin's ready now, if yous would send up a couple of boys for it." "Aye," says Mickey, "sure, a couple of these boys will run up and bring it down." And so William Amera volunteered to be one of the cubs. It was more a show off than anything else, and Mickey McKendrick said that he'd go up with me. It would be a good half-mile up to the master's barn. We tried to keep our courage up as best we could, and what we would do if a ghost appeared. Mickey said no ghost could do you any harm if you crossed yourself the minute you seen it. I said that my father said that the best plan was to stop the minute you seen it and ask it in the name of God, "Who are ye and what are ye?" Seeing the serious nature of our errand, we agreed that if anything appeared, we would take my father's plan. And Mickey said that he would cross himself so as to make no mistake. Of course, the master was down at the wake too, so the wife showed us into the barn with a candle. And the truth's best, William, I was sorry that I had been so ready with my tongue to bring down the coffin. Anyway, Mickey took the feet out and I took the head, and we started down the road. And when we got down the length of the first lane into the Aghnasgravy bog, our courage began to rise. "We'll leave it down a minute," says Mickey, to arrest my shoulder. We left it down on the road, and both of us sat down on the lid and started to talk about the foolishness of being feared after night. Mickey was getting more courage every minute and started to beat on the top of the lid of the coffin and to whistle the sailor's hornpipe, when all of a sudden someone gave a skirt inside the coffin and a wheen of wheezes across. Heavenly smoke, Mickey rose into the air with a lip and into the Aghnasgravy bog, and me on the top of him. Never in my born day did I run as fast as I did that night, and never will again. But for all my fine running, Mickey was a perch in front of me. At the rate we were going, it would be no time till we were back in the wake house, but Mickey thought there would be safety in a near cut, and made for the lane into the Aghnasgravy bog at the foot of McKinstry's lane. How he took the turn in so short, I don't know, but just as he turned into the lane, I heard Mickey give one gowl out at him that awakened the dead. He turned as quick as a hare. I was going that fast I nearly run into him. But when I come for an inch the gap, there was a big white man coming up the lane, and his short tail fluttering in the wind. I declare to heavens, William, I thought he was about 5 perches high. And just as I turned, he shouted, "Cuckoo!" That was enough for me. If he had said cuckoo a second time, I would have breathed my last. You may talk about stabbing and axing and in the name of God and so on, but what we said was very little. By this time, Mickey had got a start on me again and was back up the road like the hammers, and all of a sudden Mickey must have minded about the coffin. And you may talk about Moses and them ones on the Red Sea in front of them and Pharaoh's ones behind them. That was nothing to us. I don't know how Mickey done it, but he gave one lip and cleared the hedge into McKinstry's field, and sure it was twice the height of himself. I juked through a hole in the hedge, and man, when we got in, we fairly footed it. When we got into the wake house, it was 10 minutes before one of us could speak. I could see a smile coming from year to year our spoil the stick McGrath. I had a notion he had played some trick on us. And then he started and said that he had put the old master's cat that was dying into the coffin when he had made it. And that was what we heard inside. "Where did you leave it?" says McGrath. "About the lane into the bog above McKinstry's lane," I says. "Come on, boys, to spoil the stick, and we'll see that there's nothing in it to be feared." So out we went again, and it wasn't long till we come to where the coffin was lying. As we come far to it, I noticed that the lid seemed to be up a wee bit. "Well, you may laugh, but no cat ever took the lid of a coffin," says I. "Oh, it wasn't nailed down," says McGrath. He whacked for it, but Mickey and me kept well back so that we'd have a start in case someone turned up. Just as McGrath walked for it to within a couple of yards of the coffin, I saw the lid rising up a wee bit and a head peeping out, and it shouts, "Cuckoo!" By my conscience, William, there was a scatterment. McGrath was sobered up on the tick, for I never saw a drunk man in my born day that made as good a fit at running as he did that night. We all went back to the wake house. The master was sitting there discussing the ways of children with Tom Sweedlepipe. When the master heard our story, he volunteered to go up with us, and he said he would address the ghost in Latin or some other religious language. So we tried it again. But the more the master spoke, all the queer gibberish ever you heard, devil a cheap come out of the coffin. At the rear, the master went for it and lifted up the lid, but sorra a thing was in the coffin, neither a cat nor anything else. Devil a one would ever have known what it was, only we noticed that when Long Tam next appeared in public, the grey shoot was dyed a kind of a brown colour, nearly the same colour as a sod of turf. Tom was married to the Brockett James's daughter at the next holiday market, and I left the McCurdy ones at the end of the term and went as a servant boy to Tom. The night the first wain was born, Tom took a wee drop more than usual, and it was then that he let it out that he was the ghost that Mickey and me had seen at the bog, and it was him that had took possession of the coffin. But his legs were that long, he couldn't get the lid down. That's a